Welcome to our deep dive, into this really fascinating
Yeah.
world of AI.
Yeah.
Specifically, these language models that you might
Oh,
have heard of.
right.
They can write poems and answer questions and things like that.
Yeah, they're very impressive.
But now there's like a new generation coming
T-
out
Yeah.
that really take their time to think
Yeah.
before giving an answer. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. This
That's right.
is,
This new breed of AI that
yeah.
really focuses on taking its time to solve a problem.
Yeah.
It's pretty revolutionary.
So it's not just about speed anymore. It's about really giving these AI models the resources they need
That's right.
to think through these complex problems.
Exactly.
So traditionally, we've been focused on this thing called training,
Right.
where you just feed tons and tons of data into a model.
Exactly. You give it a huge data set and you say, okay, I want you to learn how to do this specific task.
Right.
And all of the compute budget, all of the effort goes into that initial training.
Right. So now we're kind of shifting that
Yeah, it's changing now.
budget to what's called inference time.
To inference time, that's right. So instead of putting all that effort up front,
Right.
we're saying, okay, now that you've learned the basics,
Mm-hmm.
let's actually give you more resources when you're trying to solve the problem.
So we're letting the AI use more of its brain power, so to speak, when it's actively
Exactly.
working on
A
something,
great way to put it.
not just when it's first learning.
Right.
So it's almost like giving it the space to ponder the question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we would,
It's a more human approach, you could say.
and that opens up a lot of,
Does it really changes
mhm.
how we think about developing these models?
So for example, imagine if you had an AI that was trying to tackle a complex math proof.
Mm-hmm.
So traditionally, it might just try to race through all the steps.
Right. And it might make mistakes. It might miss things.
Right, but if we give it more time,
Yeah.
maybe it can look at things from different angles and come up with a better
Exactly. You can really think it through.
solution.
And the really interesting thing is there's starting to be evidence that this approach actually works.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. There's research showing that giving these models more time to think actually leads to better results.
Interesting.
Yeah. Particularly in fields like math and coding, where reasoning is really important.
I'd love to hear an example of that.
Sure. So there was this study where they tasked an AI with generating complex computer code.
Okay.
And they found that when they allowed the AI to run for a longer period of time, essentially giving it more time to strategize, it came up with code that was much more efficient and even elegant
Wow.
than anything it could generate under time constraints.
So it's like the difference between, a first draft of something and a final polished product.
Exactly. It's like the AI is learning to be more careful and deliberate.
So almost like it's developing patience.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, it's like AI patience.
So we're really seeing that when we give AI this space to think deeply, it can really come up with these really creative and insightful
That's right.
solutions.
And solutions that are not just correct,
Right.
but also, really clever.
Yeah. So is this, have we reached the peak
That's a great question.
of AI reasoning, or
Yeah, is this the final form
could there be
of reasoning AI?
or more powerful?
Right. Could we do even better?
Like, what if we could give AI access to tools and resources?
Yes, it's
Like,
exact.
imagine an AI that could look things up online or even run simulations.
Right. Like imagine it could access research papers or databases
Right.
while it's working on a problem.
It'd be like giving it a whole research lab
It'd be incredible.
at its fingertips.
Yeah.
But I imagine there's some pretty big challenges.
There are
Yeah.
to getting there. One of the big ones is just the sheer amount of computational power that would be required. Current GPUs would probably struggle to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
And then scaling that kind of AI to, lots of users would be very complex.
So it sounds like real-time tool use is still a little ways off.
Yeah, I think it's more of a long-term goal.
But are there other ways we can kind of boost AI's thinking power?
There are, yeah.
Right now?
Absolutely.
Right.
One promising area is parallel computing,
Okay.
which actually ties into a really interesting lesson from the history of AI research.
Oh, really? Okay, so tell me about this lesson.
Well, researchers have found again and again that the most effective AI approaches often leverage just raw computational power.
Okay.
And there are two ways to get more compute.
Okay.
One is sequentially, like we've been talking about with longer inference times,
Uh-huh.
and the other is in parallel.
So it's like choosing between having one really powerful AI working on a problem or having like a whole team
Exactly.
of AIs.
That's a great
You're
analogy.
working on it simultaneously.
Yeah, it's like one super powerful AI versus a team of AIs.
Right.
And what's fascinating about AI is that it's inherently non-deterministic.
Oh, interesting.
Even if you train two different AIs on the same data,
Mm-hmm.
they might come up with slightly different solutions to the same problem.
So it's like having a brainstorming session
It is, yeah.
with a group of really brilliant minds,
You get that diversity of thought.
and that can lead to some really interesting breakthroughs.
It can. Yeah, it's not just about brute force computation. It's about harnessing those different perspectives.
I think a good example of that is AlphaGo, the AI that beat the world champion Go player.
Right.
It did that by using
It did.
both sequential and parallel computing
Yeah, it was a combination.
to really strategically deploy its thinking power.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a really clever approach.
So it really highlights how parallel computing can really unlock these new levels of problem-solving ability
Yeah.
in AI. So it's not just about building bigger, more powerful AIs.
Right.
It's about finding innovative ways to make them work together,
Exactly.
really effectively.
And the results have been really impressive. Researchers have found that using multiple large language models in parallel can actually achieve state-of-the-art results on some tasks,
Yeah.
even surpassing, some of the most advanced single models.
Interesting. So sometimes it really is about teamwork rather than
It is, yeah.
individual brilliance.
Sometimes the team approach is better.
And that brings us to this really fascinating question that was posed in one of the articles that you shared,
Yeah.
which is, would you rather employ thousands of interns or a demigod?
Right. It's a provocative question,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It really captures the trade-offs we're talking about.
Right.
On the one hand, you have the sheer power and potential of a single highly advanced AI.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, you have the diverse perspectives and the collaborative potential of, a multitude of AIs working together.
And it seems like which approach is better.
Yeah.
It really depends on the specific problem that you're facing.
It does. It's about choosing the right tool for the job.
Right. It's like choosing the right tool for the job.
And as we continue to develop, these more and more sophisticated AI systems, it's a question we're going to have to grapple with more and more.
Yeah.
What are the strengths and weaknesses of each approach? What are
Mhm.
the ethical considerations?
Yeah. Right.
It's a really fascinating and evolving landscape.
Yeah. And I can't wait to explore more of that landscape with you. But for now, I think we've covered a lot of ground just in this first part
We have.
of our deep dive.
Yeah.
We've explored the shift from training to inference.
Uh,
We've talked about the power of allowing AI to think longer. And we've even touched on the potential of parallel computing.
That's right.
So much to think about already.
There is a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
It really is.
And it just makes me think, what are some of the other areas where this thinking longer approach could be really beneficial?
Oh, gosh. The possibilities are really vast, I think.
Yeah.
We've talked about math and coding,
Right.
but think about scientific research, for example.
Okay.
Inference-heavy AI could analyze these massive data sets that scientists are collecting, identify patterns that humans might miss,
Oh, wow.
and potentially accelerate the pace of discovery in fields like medicine,
Yeah.
materials science, even climate modeling.
It's almost like having a superpowered research assistant
It is.
by your side.
That's a great way to think about
I
it.
can just crunch through all this data and
Yeah, exactly. And in medicine in particular, I think there's a lot of potential.
uh-huh.
We could see more personalized treatments,
Right.
earlier disease detection, faster drug development.
Wow.
Imagine an AI that could sift through a patient's entire medical history,
Yeah.
their genetic data, the latest research publications,
Yeah.
and create a truly tailored treatment plan.
So it's like moving from this one-size-fits-all approach to healthcare to something that's truly
It's
centralized,
about precision medicine.
which is really powerful.
It is, yeah. It has the potential to really revolutionize how we think about healthcare.
And what about other areas like engineering or design?
Oh, yeah,
I
definitely.
could see that being
Inference-heavy AI could help us design more efficient buildings, develop new materials with specific properties,
yeah.
even create optimized transportation systems for entire cities.
So it sounds like we're really on the verge of this whole new era of problem solving
I think so.
where AI can help us tackle these challenges on a scale that we've never seen before.
I agree. I think we're moving beyond just incremental improvements.
Right.
and into a realm where AI is really going to fundamentally change how we approach complex problems.
It's almost like AI is giving us this new lens through which to view the world.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
This way to see patterns and possibilities that were hidden before.
It's like enhancing our own cognitive abilities.
And I think that's what makes this field so exciting.
It is. It's incredibly exciting.
It's not just about building smarter machines. It's about expanding our own understanding of the universe.
Exactly. And pushing the boundaries of human ingenuity.
And I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the technology itself, right?
It's about how we use it.
It's about the application.
To improve our lives.
Yeah.
And our world.
And that's a crucial point to keep in mind as we go deeper into this world of inference-heavy AI.
Right, because we need to be mindful of the potential impact.
Yeah.
Both positive and negative.
Both the good and the bad.
So it's not just about celebrating these incredible advancements. It's also about asking those tough questions.
It is, yeah.
You know, what are the ethical considerations?
Yeah.
How do we ensure that this technology is used responsibly and benefits all of humanity?
Those are big questions.
They are.
And they're questions that we as a society need to grapple with.
Yeah.
You know, it's important to have those open and honest conversations about the potential risks and rewards of AI to make sure that its development aligns with our values and our aspirations.
And I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get caught up.
It is.
In all the excitement of the possibilities.
The possibilities are dazzling.
They are.
But we can't lose sight of that human element.
Right.
You know?
We need to approach this.
We do.
With a sense of responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
And thoughtful consideration.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
For sure.
Yeah.
We need to embrace the potential, but also be vigilant and proactive in addressing the challenges.
And I'm really curious from your perspective as an expert in this field, you know, what are some of those key considerations that we should keep in mind?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to prioritize transparency and explainability in these AI systems.
Okay.
You know, the more we understand how they work, how they arrive at their conclusions, the better equipped we'll be to identify potential biases, mitigate risks, and ensure that they're being used ethically.
So it's about building trust.
It is.
Not just between humans and AI, but also within society as a whole.
Exactly. It's about societal trust.
And another thing that you've touched on that I think is really important
is education.
Education is key.
You know, the more people understand about AI, the more empowered they'll be to participate in these conversations that are shaping its development and deployment.
That's right. It's not just about the experts.
Right.
It's about everyone having a voice.
It's about making sure that everyone has a seat at the table.
Exactly. The future of AI is not something that should be decided in a vacuum.
Right.
It's a collective responsibility.
And the more informed and engaged we are as a society, the better the outcome will be for everyone.
I completely agree.
So while there are definitely challenges and questions, to address it, it sounds like you're still optimistic.
I am.
About the potential of inference-heavy AI to make a positive impact on the world.
I am optimistic, but it's an optimism grounded in realism.
Okay.
You know, we need to acknowledge those potential pitfalls, but also embrace the incredible possibilities.
Right.
It's about finding that balance and working together to shape a future where AI empowers humanity and helps us solve some of our most pressing problems.
I think that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think you've given us a lot to think about as we move into the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah.
You know, we've explored the incredible potential of inference-heavy AI, the challenges that it presents, and the importance of approaching its development responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. Those are all key themes.
It feels like we've only just sort of scratched the surface here.
Yeah. Just the tip of the iceberg.
With all this stuff about inference-heavy AI, so as we kind of wrap up our deep dive here, is there like one key takeaway?
Oh, that's a good question.
You want our listener to walk away with, like, what's the thing to really remember about this whole?
I think the most important thing to remember is that the real power of AI lies not just in its ability to, you know, compute things quickly or efficiently, but in its capacity to actually think. You know, as we develop these really powerful AI models, we're essentially creating a new form of intelligence.
Oh, wow.
One that can reason, strategize, and even surprise us with its insights.
So it's not just about faster processing or more efficient algorithms.
It's about something deeper.
It's about a whole new way of thinking and problem solving.
A fundamentally new way of approaching problems.
And it just makes me wonder, what kind of breakthroughs are we going to see?
Oh, I know. It's so exciting to think about.
As this technology continues to evolve.
Yeah, how will inference-heavy AI revolutionize scientific discovery?
Right.
How will it transform industries?
Yeah.
How will it impact our daily lives?
So many questions.
Yeah, these are questions we can all ponder as we move forward.
And I love that you're encouraging our listener to be a part of this.
I think it's important
to really think about
the
implications of all this stuff.
To engage in the conversation. Because the future of AI isn't something that's predetermined.
Right.
It's not happening in isolation.
Yeah, it's something that we're all...
It's a collective endeavor.
That's shaping together.
Exactly. And the more informed and engaged we are as a society, the better equipped we'll be to harness its power for good.
Well, there I have it.
I think we covered a lot.
A deep dive into the world.
We did.
Of inference-heavy AI.
A lot of ground.
We explored this whole shift from training to inference. We talked about the power of giving these AIs time to think.
That's right.
And we even touched on this whole idea of parallel computing.
Yeah, those are some of the key themes.
And I think we even touched on some of the ethical considerations.
Right.
The need for transparency and explainability.
Those are important.
And this idea that we all need to be a part of this conversation about the future of AI.
Absolutely.
So hopefully this has given you a taste of what's possible and left you with some things to ponder.
I hope so.
As we move forward into this very exciting future.
Yeah, the future's full of possibilities.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those big questions until next time.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.